Aloha from the boat in Gibson's Marina here in beautiful, supernatural British Columbia. Yeah, I'm Wayne, and that's what they call me here in Canada because I teach forgiveness for a living. Sounds appropriate. So I want to begin today with my favorite Jimmy Buffett song because I'm living on the water and it kind of feels like a Jimmy Buffett kind of lifestyle. It's like camping on the water. So blessings to you on this beautiful Sunday. And by the way, we're going to be changing the time of these broadcasts. So watch your email. It's going to come earlier. Yeah. Because I think we'll have a lot more people showing up if it's in the morning here on the West Coast rather than the afternoon. So I'll let you know next week. And by the way, there's a new course up if you're not getting the email. I'm doing a very deep dive for just a handful of people into forgiveness technology, and it's called yeah, Miracle Mindset Forgiveness Technology. All right, so back to the Buffett song. A pirate looks at 40. Yeah, great reflection from a very free soul who had a lot of encounters on the ocean. And this song has been covered by so many people who love the ocean. Mother, Mother Ocean, I have heard your call. I wanted to stand upon your waters since I was 3 feet tall. You've seen it all. You've seen it all. Watch the men who rowed you switch from sails to steam, and in your belly you hold the treasures few men have ever seen. Most of them dream. Most of them dream. Yes, I am a pirate, 200 years too late. The cannons don't thunder, there's nothing to plunder. I'm an over 40 victim of fate, arriving too late. Arriving too late. Done a bit of smuggling, run my share of grass. I made enough money to buy Miami and pissed it all away so fast. Wasn't meant to last. Wasn't meant to last. I have been drunk for over 2 weeks. Passed out and I rallied and I sprung a few leaks. But I got to stop wishing, time to go fishing down to rock bottom again with a few friends, just a few friends. I go for younger women, I've lived for several a while. Though I chased them away, they came back one day, and they could manage to smile. Just takes a while. Just takes a while. Mother, Mother Ocean, after all these years, occupational hazard being, my occupation's just not around. Feel like I've drowned. Gonna head uptown. Feel like I've drowned. Gonna head uptown. right. Wherever you are, Jimmy Buffett, God bless you. Yes, sirree, Bobby. He's quite the pirate. Okay. Aloha and welcome, everybody. It's good to see you here. Share some mystic wisdom. Now, I want you to type any questions you have, you feel shy about, into the chat. Or if you want to come on and ask a question, there's that button. You can raise your hand or just unmute yourself and just dive in. Because these are dialogues. These are meant to be dialogues. You know, I have these mystic wisdom dialogues with people all the time in my travels, one-on-one. We were having dinner the other night at a friend's house, and somebody who showed up for this a couple of weeks ago, she felt shy about, sharing in front of others. It's a natural fear. They say it's a fear next to death, is speaking in front of people. So it does take a while. It takes some practice to get over it. But we were having an amazing dialogue about the cosmos and God and different traditions. And it just dawned on me, why didn't you speak up, on Sunday? And she said, well, I just didn't feel comfortable. And I said, please, come this Sunday and ask some of these questions, because I have no idea what the answer is until you ask the question. Yeah. So please feel free to ask any question about your story or a conflict that perhaps you're inside of right now, and we can move through that. All right. Well, if there isn't any questions yet, you guys may have some questions about the material. My experience this week has been really, really enlightening, watching all my patterns. And I'm noticing on a lot of social media channels and a lot of spiritual teachers, we're all talking the same language about patterns and witnessing our patterns and disengaging from the emotional reactions and engaging in extreme ownership of what we are thinking, what we are feeling because of what we're thinking. And instead of blaming others that tend to trigger us, we're all looking at, why am I triggered? Yeah. Why does this, what they said, why does this word they said, or this concept they said, or this belief that they have, why did it trigger me? Why does the pain I have in my body trigger me? And how do I manage that? How do I handle that? These are all really good questions to observe in your daily walk of life. Which brings up the question, who's doing the witnessing? Aha! Who is witnessing? As you feel you're witnessing, who is that witnessing you in the pattern? Let's say that something triggers you and you get really angry. And so you decide, instead of to, lash out or scream or hit the person or whatever, you decide to look at the pattern and witness the anger and feel the anger fully and look at it objectively from your higher self as a very human experience that has value. That's the thing. Every single emotion has value. Every single experience has value when given to the Holy Spirit, when given to your higher self. That's the trick. Because otherwise, pain doesn't normally appear to have any value or being triggered. because, we're wired to just, kind of flash back at people when we get hurt or when we hear a belief or an assumption about life that we don't really buy into. Um, we tend to just attack them. It's a natural thing. And, debate has been a part of our culture for a long, long time. Um, and it's healthy to debate. It's healthy to banter about concepts, you know, because it gives us a sense of where we're really at. And we get to actually, if we're witnessing ourselves, we get to hear when we speak to them what we actually believe, which we may not have taken a closer look at that before. So it's good. Arguments are good. Triggers are good. Attacks are good. Pain is good. It's all good. It all has its value in the human evolutionary experience. So the practice, what I'm hearing from most spiritual teachers, is to witness yourself being human. And I like that a lot. Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm doing. And it offers me to be more careful in my body. I mean, when I got out this morning, I got up before dawn. Yeah, I woke up around 4, decided to go down to the marina and take a hot shower around 5 a.m. And as soon as I stepped off the boat, there was this sparkly, crispy crystals of ice along the entire float deck. And this is where the witness comes in handy, because if I had not paid strict attention, as soon as I put my foot down for every single step, yeah, I would have been sliding all around on that deck and probably hurting myself. So that the dock. So it's the same in life, that if you have an automatic witness that you have kind of like downloaded this application, let's call it Witnessing My Humanness. If you have that application well installed, there's no need for any more fear wherever you go and whatever happens. Because when you feel fear come up, the witness program will kick in and watch the fear as an illusion, knowing that only love is real. That every experience has value towards realizing yourself, myself, as love in a body. And, that's another really big concept that's going around about the world and how it is a dream that we're all having in the mind of God, And I love that concept as well. People ask me when I'm dialoguing with them out and about, just sharing a meal or driving somewhere with a friend, about these concepts, and it appears, unless I speak about it, that these are beliefs I have. A concept is not a belief. A concept is a thought form that our experience moves through. And we hold a lot of concepts. The ones that seem to be really good for us are the more progressive, positive concepts. Pro-life, I would call them. And the ones that seem not so good for us, they tend to bring feelings of depression, anxiety, anger, when the pain won't go away or the trigger of this person won't go away, right? So it's really good to be able to disengage from the idea that we are a body, that's all we are, and we're having this amazing, emotional, sometimes traumatic, sometimes exalted experience of life on Earth in the 3D realm. Now, when we look at that, now, separation is also a concept. that the Course in Miracles teaches that the separation from God never happened. And in Kahuna science, there's a corollary to the second principle, that separation is a useful illusion. Kala. There are no limits. Separation is a useful illusion. And so this is what I see, is that if we can use a concept like this world is a dream that we're having in the mind of God, which is our mind. See, there we move into oneness. That God is dreaming this human dream with us, as us, and for us. Yeah. So in that way, we can experience what's happening, whether it's traumatic, intense on any level. Perhaps it's ecstasy. Perhaps we're having an exalted experience of revelation, feeling truth just in our body and mind, which we can't explain. And we're just, the hairs standing up on our arms and our back because we feel so much love from our Creator. All of these human experiences have value. And when they're witnessed, when they are witnessed from your authentic, aware self that knows it's immortal, then there's a very exquisite disengagement from the intensity of the drama when being witnessed. And I can only imagine this is what, what death is like. When someone has to leave the body because of an accident, the body goes into extreme shock and pain, and all of a sudden they're ejected out of the body. They are witnessing their human body having all of this pain. And most of the people say they don't even recognize their body at first, because their light, the point of view from light, is so exquisitely different. There's no being out of the body. There's no reference for having been in a body. Isn't that strange? Yeah. So this concept that I like so much is helping me so much witness my humanness and witness the patterns of the ego to diminish my experience of myself. And so the Course in Miracles and Huna and the Hawaiian tradition, they all agree that there's no profit in judgment. And yet the mind is a judgment machine, 24/7, 365. The mind, it's just, that's the way, the mechanism of the lower mind works. Everything is dual, everything is separate, and there's a constant comparing myself to others. There's a constant comparing that actually holds us back from living our dream. I don't know about you guys, if you're artists or not, but it has really shown me a lot lately about my musical career. And I had to even journal some of the things about underlying beliefs of why I haven't, been on the road tour yet with my folk rock music. That is all full of inspirational messages, that people would really love to hear. And I looked at this comparison program of like, oh, well, they might not like me. Other people, they're younger and perhaps they have better music. And you know how the ego just compares to death whatever you want to do. And I think, the great advantage of being a teenager in the 60s was because of pot. We lost that idea of comparing. We were so caught up in creating more music and creating music that was coming from our soul. It was the best time to be alive through the 60s and 70s, when the creation of music and the birth of the music industry just bloomed into so many places. So we want to look at these patterns, of it's like when the subconscious mind goes unwatched, when the subconscious mind is running the show and goes unwatched, there will be trouble. There will be patterns running that do not promote unity, do not promote kindness, compassion, humility, generosity. No, 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 no. Those aren't the ego's games. The ego can be coerced into riding in the back or in the sidecar of those games once the heart is in control. So primarily the ego games, you see them all over the internet and social media, and in the government and in the military, in the schools, wherever their structure is more important than human needs being met. That's where you'll find that the ego is running the show. And there's going to be a lot of confinement and upset people who don't want, to get the jab. They don't want, to attack countries because of a political agenda, and yet it's such a bizarre time to be alive with so much polarity happening on the earth. Because once again, we'll go back to the concept that it's all a dream. And a better overlay I like actually is it's all a movie. It's all a movie that we are watching take place, this earth. What's characteristic of a movie or a dream? They both have a beginning and an ending. They both have a middle that takes you up, takes you down, makes you laugh, makes you cry, brings you partners, tear your heart out, brings you partners that will love you to death. That's the middle. It is full of characters. It's full of emotions. It's full of learning about yourself and reflection with others. But once again, a beginning and an ending. Now, what the Course in Miracles teaches, which this concept I love so much and I'm playing with quite a lot because it's really helping me detach from the traumatic things going on in the world today, is that when we are able to forgive our perception, which is actually a projection, all that we receive as a perception, we're actually projecting the meaning of it onto our mind stream and sharing that with others. Which, all right, stay with me, which would tend to point at there's nothing happening outside our mind. Think about that for a minute. If we are perceiving it here and we are projecting it here, we're giving it all its meaning here. Because out here is completely neutral. It has no meaning of its own. And this is the primary game of the ego mind, is to give everything meaning so it can judge it, assess it, determine whether it's good or bad, determine comparisons, everything you think. Yeah. All of that is generated by giving things meaning. So let's go back to the metaphor of a dream. What is also characteristic of that is you wake up when the dream is over. And if it was a nightmare, which I've had a couple last week, man, I am so glad when I wake up that it was a dream. Yeah. Same with the movie. First time I saw the Titanic, I was so excited to hear this, to go see this film. I went with my girlfriend. I remember it was 1997. I was living in Canada at the time. We went to the biggest theater we could find somewhere in town in Vancouver. And wow, I mean, you guys know how intense that movie was, and how he gave his life for the one he loved at the end. And they had to drag me out of the theater. I was bawling for at least, I don't know, at least 25, 30 minutes. My arms folded over the seat in front. I couldn't stop crying after the movie had ended. Because I realized that I have loved every woman I've lived with that same depth of love. That I would have given my life if there was a choice between her or me living. I would have given that choice. I would have made that choice for her to be the one living. So, point being, the movie was over. What happens? The lights go up, the cleaners come in, and you leave the theater with a feeling, just like the dream. So let's look at that. The dream was not real. The movie was not real. And we came out of each one really happy that it wasn't real. And we got to learn something about our programming through our feelings. Now let's overlay that in life. Now if 3D life is a dream, if it is our movie where we are the starring character, of course, and everyone in our movie we cast. We're the casting director, we are the star, and we are the director of our movie. What directs our movie is our programming, which runs our patterns of thinking, creates thought forms that create our experience, and we call that reality. Nothing could be further from the truth. Because we are not, according to the Course in Miracles, we are not a body. The Course in Miracles lays a heavy hand on the idea that we are all the one Son of God, and that we are all still living in the mind of God, that there was never any separation. That the story of Adam and Eve about separation and becoming sinful was just a metaphor to create the duality that we would experience here on earth, which is how we're learning about ourselves. The Course in Miracles says, so they keep pointing to the fact that each of us is like a ray of the sun in regards to being a part of God. We each are that. And we each carry that immortal thread that runs through all of life, and that even death is an illusion. We go in and out of a body, but we're always alive. Being one with God, we would have all those characteristics. So where the confusion comes in, I see quite often living here on earth. And even talking to my friends who are quite smart. I mean, they've done the work, taken all the courses, read all the books, and yet still, the languaging is all about separation. And, well, what if someone says to me, I remember she says, oh gosh, well, if none of this is real, then I could just go kill a whole bunch of people and it wouldn't mean anything, right? According to the Course in Miracles, would have done nothing, because this realm, which disappears, everything in this realm will go. Every moment, everything you see will go, including your body. Um, and I mean, does the past really exist? People want to look at history and hold on to things that have happened to them. According to the Course in Miracles, it's not. It has no value. It has no life. It has no existence, because this realm has no existence. The only thing that is real in this dimension is the moment of now, where we are being our God self, our angelic self, our self that is not a body in the body. And those we see as acts of kindness. Yeah. Unpremeditated acts of kindness. Yeah. And those actually go with us when the soul leaves, because it's part of our it's part of our soul. All the love that we experience with everyone, and that stays with us because it's real, because the only thing that is real is love. Yeah. And I find a lot of safety in that being my reality, and not a concept. As long as we have a mind and we can talk about these things, they are concepts. But when you can feel the love that you are, absolutely. When you can feel that through meditation, through yoga, through making love, through doing art, singing a song, painting a picture, when you can feel that love moving through you and creating something lovely, you are realizing yourself as your true, authentic self. And yet life will challenge us. That's just the nature of it. So just remember, God's will for us, for you, for me, is perfect happiness. And everything in this world, which keeps coming up in conversations, well, why is this going on? Why did God make this? And why did God did not make this world. Contrary to the belief my whole life that God made everything, easily applies to all the bad stuff too, which would easily apply the moral structure that you have to be good to earn, what's been given by God. And it's not true, and you can find this out for yourself by connecting to your own high self, and through meditation. I like to do the mantras from A Course in Miracles. And so this concept of forgiveness is huge in the Hawaiian culture and most cultures. Ho'oponopono. It's the primary function of the Course in Miracles. Kahuna science. Forgiveness. Now, what are we forgiving, though? See, here's the thing. It's not the ego's form of forgiveness by any means. That's not it. What does that look like? Well, you take two kids, in a preschool, and they're out in the yard playing in a sandbox, and they're just having so much fun until one of them picks up a whole handful of sand and throws it at the other one and gets it in their eyes. Of course, the kid starts screaming, and the teacher will come over, and the one who threw the sand, who knows what thought was behind that, but immediately the teacher assesses what's taken place and, says to the one that threw the sand, now you apologize to so-and-so. The kid doesn't know what that is. And there goes the programming right there. Now, this is a cultural thing that we're living with. And it has to do with the idea that we are a body. And, if you hurt someone, you should apologize. Nothing wrong with that. That can really work. Now, let's look at this, back up a bit into the concept of us watching ourselves, our programming, living in a dream, right? And we see all these things in the dream that are not kosher. I mean, there are wars, there are murders. I mean, there's so much happening. Fires, earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, houses getting destroyed in so many ways, people's lives being destroyed so many ways. So this is where the contemporary form of forgiveness technology comes into play. We want to learn to forgive our perception. That's the key to freedom, right there. We want to forgive our perception. We want to forgive what the mind has come up with, everything that we see. And when we can do that effectively, heaven will appear on earth. Everyone will appear innocent, including ourselves. And we will see our own innocent reflection in everyone we look at. We'll see our own innocent reflection in the mirror while we're running our negative patterns. We'll see our innocence and we'll giggle because we'll know that our humanness will come and go. And this is a character that we are playing in our movie. Yeah. So there you go. All right. I'm going to open the floor for some questions and stop this train for a little bit, moving so fast. Lesson 62. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. So I want you to close your eyes and say this to yourself out loud. First, go vertical and breathe in from above. Gold and white light connect with your higher self. Take a few deep breaths of gold and white sparkles of exquisite golden light. Nice and deep. And now say to yourself, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. And I want you to think about all of your perceptions, all of your projections, all of your judgments about you and everyone else in the world. And forgive them. Forgive yourself for having them. Again, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. It is your forgiveness that will bring the world of darkness to the light. It is your forgiveness that lets you recognize the light in which you see. Forgiveness is the demonstration that you are the light of the world. Through your forgiveness does the truth about yourself return to your memory. Therefore, in your forgiveness lies your freedom. And so repeat that again. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. And forgive yourself for all your projections, good, bad, and ugly. And return to your original innocence. Very good. I am the light of the world. That is my only function. That is why I'm here. Let's say that. I am the light of the world. Breathe it in. That is my only function. Breathe it in. That is why I am here. Breathe it in. Think about these statements for a while, preferably with your eyes closed if the situation permits. Let a few related thoughts come to you and repeat the idea to yourself if your mind wanders away from the central idea. Connect to the light that you are inside. This is what lives forever. This is the life of you that is eternal. We don't have to do anything for it. We don't have to earn it. It came as part of the bundle when we took on a body with a bunch of other things. Now, as you get really good at this game of forgiving perceptions and projections, you'll become so peaceful. People will want to hang out with you. You'll attract people's minds who are very chaotic because you'll be in the polarity of so much peace and tranquility. They'll want to be near you, like the two ends of a magnet. So the next lesson is apropos. The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. Now let's repeat that. The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. And breathe that in. Yeah, that's good. The light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. Hmm. How blessed are you who can learn to recognize the means for letting this be done through you. What function would you want but this? What purpose could you have that would bring you greater happiness than bringing peace to everyone through forgiveness? Mm. Let related thoughts come freely, for your heart will recognize these words, and in your mind is the awareness that they are true. And should your attention wander, repeat this idea. I would remember this because I want to be happy. So forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiving projections because there isn't another. There isn't anything going on out here because you're perceiving it here. It's all in here. So forgiving your projections removes the veil of hell on earth to actually see the neutrality of what's been given here in this 3D world. Heaven exists here. The problem is it doesn't exist here. When heaven exists here, then you'll see it here. You'll feel it. You'll experience it. I would remember this because I want to be happy. Let's say that. Well, I wish I could see the YouTube participants and see if they have any questions. But I want to encourage for them to show up on Zoom next time with inquiry about mystic wisdom. Yeah. Now I want to share with you a course that I've designed to help people reprogram themselves at a very high level, moving into their higher mind. With this course that I built, that begins in February. It's 4 Saturdays in February. February 7, 14, 21, and 28 for a couple hours in the late morning on the West Coast here. So that would be early evening in Europe. And it's about mindset training. Because the miracle mind only sees miracles. It only sees love. It doesn't have a capacity to embody fear. It only sees heaven. And so I thought to design a course that will really root this deeply for people. Miracle mindset technology in regarding to forgiveness and learning how to root all the concepts I've shared with you. Because we'll have a lot of one-on-one attention in this course where you'll be able to bring your story and one-on-one, I'll open it with you in a small sacred circle with others that are supporting your evolution as well. Yeah, miracle mindset technology. Learning to forgive all your family members, your partners, your siblings, your children, your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, your lovers, all the exes, This technology has the ability to help you erase the traumatic imprints that are in your subconscious. And that sets your mind free. It gives you more space for holding peace and love in your beingness. When we're not dragging around what's under the carpet in the subconscious, which is a lot of guilt and shame, things that happened from the time we were born until this day. We couldn't process it, so it got swept under the carpet. Well, I learned how to do this technology, and I healed 17 years of a chasm, of a huge separation between my three sons and their mother. And it only took me a couple of weeks of practicing this technology every day. And then all of a sudden, she shows up in my life like the last 17 years didn't even exist. So that's why I call it technology. I saw the science behind what was happening. When I learned to thoroughly clean and pull up all the weeds and the roots of the weeds in my subconscious mind in regard to them, when that garden was completely clean, all of a sudden we're communicating again on a very friendly level. It was shocking to me in a really good way. We had the first hug and looked into each other's eyes and sat down and started talking. The woman I had lived with for 16 years and had 3 children at home, there was my best friend once again. Whereas 17 years had gone by where she would not speak to me. And so my experience of her not speaking to me and being very nasty when I reached out to apologize or even connect was that, this wasn't going to be possible ever. So it's not true. Yeah, things can be turned around. So I highly recommend that you check out what's being offered. All the details are on the site about what's going to happen each week, what the approach is going to be, and how there'll be a lot of space for you to have one-on-ones with me because it's a small class. So I highly recommend coming to Miracle Mindset Technology. Forgiveness for all of your relationships through technology that is like related to Ho'oponopono. Yeah, it's related to spiritual science. And it's very strongly rooted in the original teachings of Jesus. Yeah. So I hope you consider coming and showing up for that. All right. Well, if this becomes a clip, there'll probably be a link down below for you to go to the page and read all the details of the course. It's extremely reasonably priced. I'm charging less than what I charge for 1 hour of counseling. You get 4 Saturdays of 2 hours each. Yeah. So check it out. And I hope to see you there. Or if you know somebody who's grieving, going into a divorce or coming out of one or a breakup, or they lost a loved one, this is the perfect course for them to rebalance and restabilize. Yeah. So with all of that, I guess we'll close this session. And once again, thanks for everybody showing up. And I hope to see you in the course. Yeah. So aloha. Much love to you. Aloha nui. And ahui ho till we meet again. Once again, malama pono, which means take the best care of yourself.